Good morning, and welcome to West Valley Unitarian Universalist. My name is Valerie Lynch, and I'm the Worship Associate for this morning's service. Welcome as we continue to offer our services on Zoom during these pandemic times. We're very glad you joined us this morning. Everyone is welcome here, regardless of your gender identity or sexual orientation. We strive to be a community where everyone can be their true selves. You're welcome here. Welcome regardless of education level, financial status, political leanings, immigration status, or any of the other labels that can be used to divide people. They don't do so here. We are glad you're here. I have some opening words this morning. Today is the second day of Kwanzaa, which is a week-long celebration held in the United States that honors the African heritage in African American culture. Kwanzaa is observed from December 26th to January 1st. Kwanzaa was created by Dr. Maulana Karenga, a professor and chairman of Africana Studies at California State University. In 1966, he created this holiday in response to the Watts riots in Los Angeles in 1965 as a way to bring the African American community together. There are 7 principles. Each one is a main focus for the day, each day. Unity, self-determination, work and responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. And this is a special celebratory time for many of our African American family members, friends, and neighbors. Okay, I have a quick little story about Kwanzaa. And it's entitled, Kwanzaa Opens with an Act of Kindness. Do good in a world full of wrongdoing. Professor Karenga, founder of the Kwanzaa celebration, said to 300 people gathered in a Langston Hughes Institute to celebrate the beginning of the 7-day celebration. Minutes after his speech, they answered his call. Alexis Gilbert, age 18, who sat through the dances and drums performances and speeches, got up to leave, and she realized she lost $280 in Christmas money. I think it may have fallen out of my pocket and someone picked it up. The organizers appealed to the audience for help. Dozens responded with donations to help cover her loss. In tears, Gilbert received $325 and hugs from those who collected money for her. I thank everyone who gave, she said to the crowd. This is showing love. The community came together. It's a very wonderful celebratory time. Okay, we'll begin our service with the lighting of the chalice. And I thank Paul for creating a chalice for us to use this morning.
Okay, and that will be lighting the chalice. And I just have to speak to make it visible. And then Valerie will speak her words for the chalice lighting.
On the Brink of a New Year. This is by Lois Van Leer. We light this chalice on the brink of a new year, letting go of what has been, open and hopeful for what may come, renewed, restored, ready to live life fully anew. May we move forward with intention. Okay, let us now read together our covenant. Love is the doctrine of our congregation. The quest for truth is our holy right, and service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in friendship. Thus do we covenant. Okay, we have a principled moment this morning. This is a time when we reflect on one of the principles in Unitarian Universalism. Today, I bring the 8th principle. The delegates to the 2017 General Assembly called for the UUA board to appoint a study commission to discuss adding an 8th principle that may be stated as such. We, the member congregations of the Unitarian Universalist Association, covenant to affirm and promote journeying towards spiritual wholeness by working to build a diverse, multicultural, beloved community by our actions that accountably dismantle racism and other oppressions in ourselves and our institutions. There are a number of congregations that have adopted the new principle, and many congregations are bringing it into their RE programs for children and youth. Every week in our church, we take up an offering. We're not meeting together in person, but it's still important to take care of our church community and continue the spiritual practice of offering financial contributions. Please take a few minutes to prepare a check to mail in or donate via the link in the chat box or on our website.
Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. Ah, at this time of year, in days of yore, Maccabees the temple did restore. And today our people, as we dream, will arise, unite, and be redeemed. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid. Who can retell the things that befell us? Who can count them? In every age a hero or sage came to our aid.
Thank you, Joe. So happy to welcome back our speaker this morning, Reverend Cathy Corbin-Menino. We're so glad to have you, Cathy, coming to talk to us during this holiday season. The talk is entitled, The Language of Kindness.
Thank you, Valerie. Thank you, Barry and Paul and Joe for her music. It's so good to be with you. And a special hi to Mahesh. Is that how you pronounce it, Mahesh? We've all been anxiously awaiting your coming because we've been hearing about it from Jim for quite a while. So we are so glad to see you. I know you must be having a good time. You have to have a good time with Jim and Mark. And I trust that all of you are enjoying your holiday season. I believe in the power of the spoken word, and I believe in kindness. But I am, by nature, as well as a product of my home environment, sarcastic. It was our family's practice to make fun of ourselves first in order to beat you to the punch. And we tried to make that as humorous as possible. So we used sarcasm, satire, mockery, which we fooled ourselves into thinking was actually witty. It moved occasionally from joking about our own little quirks to others' foibles. And if it got a laugh, well, it couldn't be so bad. Look at how popular Don Rickles was. Then in high school, sitting with friends in the cafeteria at lunch, I was on a roll. And a friend of mine said, "Wow, I am sure glad we're friends, because I'd hate to hear how you talked about me when I wasn't around." Whoa. I've never forgotten that moment. It was like a slap in the face. It woke me up. And I asked her, "What do you mean?" "Well, I know you're not trying to be mean, but you really do know how to put down others in a funny way." That wasn't a compliment to me. In fact, I was mortified to think I had gone all through high school with these people, and that is how they saw me. Here I had wanted to be a good Christian example, so I didn't smoke or drink or curse or kiss on the first date. But I could cut someone down with my words. Not in front of their face. I wouldn't want to hurt anybody. No, it was just out of their earshot, or in other words, behind their back. I did not want that to be my legacy, but I didn't have much time to clean up my act. It was my senior year. We'd all be graduating soon and going our separate ways. I'd better change, and change fast. In that one moment, I suddenly realized that it was much better, much more Christian, to be kind than clever, to go for a soft, warm smile rather than a harsh laugh at someone else's expense. Many of us traded silly jests without thinking or never really knowing how the other person felt or how that might strike an unknown injury, reminding them of past hurts. So I changed, inch by inch, word by word. I can still slip off the wagon, but I'm always immediately aware when I do. So I thought I'd share with you some of my daily inches. First, I slowed down to think before speaking. If a conversation took a negative tone, I no longer jumped in to add my witty 2 cents worth. I stepped back and thought about one or two of their qualities I admired or had compassion for and added that to the conversation, or simply kept my mouth shut. Because dehumanizing others is a dangerous practice. Then I watched other people's body language and apologized immediately if by their response I knew that in some way what I said was being interpreted as harsh. I showed myself kindness. My silent self-talk was just as sarcastic and critical as my spoken put-downs. Then I would check to see if I felt off-centered in an area of my life. I'm more tempted to be sharp-tongued if I'm upset about something, even if it's completely unrelated to the person with whom I'm speaking. I really saw how that played out in my middle son. I could always tell when he wasn't happy with something about himself because he would verbally strike out at others. And I practiced gratitude. I may not always feel like writing down 3 things to be grateful for in a gratitude journal, but focusing on even one object of happiness could bring me back to center and remind me that there's really nothing to be so sharp about. I would make an effort to be kind to people I did not actually like. It's easy to make kindness a priority to my friends, but strangers or people who rubbed me the wrong way, well, they deserve gentleness as well. At the end of the day, I would recall and reflect. I do this not to punish myself anymore, but to look back and see when was I not in the moment and evaluate what I did or said, and if the situation comes up again, what other choices could I make? And as always, I practiced. Even Mr. Rogers had daily practices to control his anger, because none of this is easy. None of it comes naturally. But like anything else, consistent mindful practice makes it a little easier day by day. I am grateful for that moment in high school that spurred me on to do this work, because I eventually became a minister's wife. And I can't tell you the number of stories I've heard about how gossip and a sharp-tongued minister's wife could sabotage the ministry and ruin their husband's career. There have been other unexpected benefits to the practice of kindness in speech. I have felt myself softening, becoming a gentler person, my sharp edges smoothing away a bit at a time. Not all the way down, as evidenced by these last 4 years, but enough that kindness doesn't feel like a foreign language to my tongue. Maybe someday I might even think of it as second nature. When kind speech comes naturally, we are not only being kind to others, but to ourselves as well. I think of Emerson's idea of immense positivity, which can also be called immense kindness. I think some people got his teaching of positivity a little mixed up by using it as a technique. Practice being positive and good things will happen for you. Immense positivity, or immense kindness, is a byproduct of having a relationship with the sacred within you, discovering and being committed to your best self. One of the ways he did this was through prayer. But this is how he defined prayer: contemplating things from the highest point of view. When we live with an open heart, positivity or kindness comes easier, even in difficult situations. Deep, profound kindness is not just a cool thing to practice, but is our very way of being, a way of being awake. Emerson said, "We have a great deal more kindness than is ever spoken. There is more kindness than we can ever speak, more joy than we can ever embody. Yet how often do we hold back that kind word or loving action or joyful expression? How much do we miss the availability of all of that around us?" It takes courage to practice profound kindness and make it a center of our lives that shows up in our speech. From an essay on friendship, Emerson made 3 points about practicing what he called immense positivity, and I call profound kindness. 1, make your friend the main event. He said, "A new person to me is always a great event. Make sure the person you're with is the most important event in the moment. Learn something new about them. Express something with them that you've never shared before. Secondly, make intimacy a priority. Alone," Emerson said, "every person is sincere. However, at the entrance of a second person, hypocrisy begins." There is a certain paradoxical truth to that. Part of the work of sacred relationship is learning first to be our authentic self. It is so great to have a good friend where we can take off our masks, literally and figuratively, and not worry that anything we say will be judged. To just be. It feeds our soul. So cut the small talk as soon as you can and get to what really matters. How are you doing? Honestly. Or skip all that and just laugh. It has the same effect. If you don't have a friend like that, author and psychologist Harville Hendrix says, be a friend like that. He tells a story about a man who he was counseling, who often complained about how lonely he was, how there were no friends out there for him. So therapist Hendrix changed his counseling approach and actually scolded the man and said, "You're right. What you want does not exist. All the people in the world are strangers. So if you want a friend, then make one. Be one." It's one thing to have a friend and another to be a friend. It's like the difference between being married and practicing being married. It's one thing to know you're an individual, but it's another thing to deepen in the knowing of yourself. Which brings me to point 3. You cannot belong to another before you belong to yourself. So said Emerson. So befriend yourself. Be willing to listen to yourself. Make yourself the main event from time to time. Be willing to be heard, to be loved, to forgive yourself, to bring yourself in alignment with the true practice of your life. He says that every day when we wake up, we should think, today I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life, and I am not going to waste it. I'm going to use all my energies to develop myself, to expand my heart out to others, to achieve enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. I am going to have kind thoughts toward others. I am not going to get angry or think badly about others. I'm going to benefit others as much as I can. We have the power to be kind, to acknowledge and honor another, power to love someone, the power to behold and see the truth and ability about someone else who might not see it for themselves, the power to be present, to listen, and fully embrace someone. It obviously isn't that easy, because current research is showing that the majority of adults and teens are less empathetic today than ever before. People are less sensitive to the suffering of others and have become self-centered and selfish. This may be because they have not learned valuable life lessons during childhood. Every parent wants their child to become successful in life and develop as a good human being. We want to make sure we're raising kids, or have raised kids, who are honest, empathetic, caring, and anti-racist. But it doesn't happen on autopilot. Children need to be prepared very early in life and receive the right guidance. Dr. Srishendra Sinha wrote in his curriculum for children that one way to teach them good qualities in life and impart important life lessons is with the help of simple kindness quotes that can be used daily. Using quotes on kindness every day helps the child understand the significance of being kind and caring every day. I love the new trend of kindness rocks. I have a kindness rock garden now from my grandchildren. They painted rocks with one value word painted on each rock. And every time they come over, they make sure that the rock is in the right position so that you can see the kindness word. He suggests that parents choose an inspirational kindness quote and read it together as a family each day. Discuss the quote and ask your child as to how they feel or think about it and how they can use it in their daily life. When they come back home from school, ask them how they use the kindness quote and how do they feel about it. When kids learn to value the importance of kindness, they will try to practice those virtues. And they learn that they have the power to change the world for the better. I think this can work for adults as well. Set a daily intention by choosing one kindness phrase that embodies how you want to communicate. When we spread kind words out into the world, the ripple effect is incredible. Words are powerful. Lao Tzu said, kindness in words creates confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love. Albert Schweitzer said that constant kindness can accomplish much. As the sun makes ice melt, kindness causes misunderstanding, mistrust, and hostility to evaporate. FDR said that human kindness has never weakened the stamina or softened the fiber of a free people. A nation does not have to be cruel to be tough. So I'm offering this morning 20 kindness phrases. You might want to choose one as a focus, at least for today. Be kind, for everyone you meet is fighting a hard battle. Plato. Be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. The Dalai Lama. What this world needs is a new kind of army. The army of the kind. Cleveland Amory. No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted. Aesop. When I was young, I admired clever people. Now that I am old, I admire kind people. Abraham Joshua Heschel. Be silly. Be honest. Be kind. Ralph Waldo Emerson. Wherever there is a human being, there is an opportunity for a kindness. Seneca. Act with kindness, but do not expect gratitude. Confucius. And another from Confucius. Forget injuries. Never forget kindness. Be mindful. Be grateful. Be positive. Be true. Be kind. Roy T. Bennett. Kindness gives birth to kindness. Sophocles. The simplest acts of kindness are by far more powerful than 1,000 heads bowing in prayer. Mahatma Gandhi. Kind words, kind hearts are the gardens. Kind thoughts are the roots. Kind words are the blossoms. Kind deeds are the fruits. Kirpal Singh. A kind heart is a fountain of gladness, making everything in its vicinity freshen into smiles. Washington Irving. Kindness is in our power. Samuel Johnson. Always try to be a little kinder than is necessary. J.M. Barrie. Never lose a chance of saying a kind word. William Thackeray. Kindness is the language which the deaf can hear and the blind can see. Mark Twain. A warm smile is a universal language of kindness. William Arthur Ward. Kindness can become its own motive. We are made kind by being kind. Eric Hoffer. Angela Santomero, author of Radical Kindness, writes, "We are all suffering from a shortage of kindness. We're impatient with each other. We've stopped listening to voices we don't agree with, especially when it comes to hot-button topics such as politics, religion, and parenting. We're even unkind to ourselves. We don't get enough sleep. We don't eat right. We take on more responsibilities than we can handle. And our self-talk, the endless self-criticism in our heads, leaves much to be desired." She concludes that it just might be time for a new revolution, for radical kindness. The simple concept of seeing with one's heart rather than one's head. Being kind to yourself is a gift of strength. It can give you a purpose and a deep sense of joy about your life. Being kind to others is a gift of compassion. It can build self-image and confidence. Being kind to the world is a gift of hope and awareness. It cultivates an active social conscience. In his book, Humankind, author Rutger Bregman writes, "No one is more familiar with the power of words than my friend Cheryl Rice. During a particularly stressful time, a colleague of hers gave her a card that held just 2 words, 'You matter.' She was so touched that she made 100 of her own cards to give away. One day she was in line in the grocery store and the clerk asked the lady in front of her how she was doing. The lady responded, 'Not so good. My husband has just lost his job and my son is acting out. The truth is, I don't know how I'm going to get through the holidays.' Cheryl didn't know how to respond. Should I offer to pay for her groceries? Ask for her husband's resume? And so I did nothing. And the woman left the store. As Cheryl walked out into the parking lot, she saw the woman returning her card, and she remembered a card in her purse, and she walked over and said, 'I heard what you told the cashier, and I'd like to give you something,' and handed her the You Matter card. The woman read it and began to cry, and said, 'You have no idea how much this means to me,' and hugged Cheryl. Cheryl went back to her car and cried too. And then, because it was such a powerful experience, she made it her final project in her psychology certificate program, calling it the You Matter Marathon. She had cards made up to be given free to anyone who signed up online and agreed to share this message with others. A woman named Sandy wrote Cheryl with a story. "When I gave my grown son a You Matter card, he fought to hold back the tears. He simply held the card and looked at it for about a minute. And then there was a change in his body language, and I got a sense that he finally believed that he does matter in my life and is loved. At last we were able to have a meaningful conversation." She went on to say that the reason it made such a difference in both our lives is because of his past. He suffered from depression for many, many years and attempted suicide twice. I see him now every few weeks, and we have been trying to mend our relationship. It has been a long process, but there has been a shift since giving him the You Matter card. He has always been a very quiet, shy person who has difficulty sharing his thoughts. Now he is opening up more. The You Matter card was the link I needed to reach him. The Dalai Lama says to give the gift of kindness wherever we go. There is no need for temples, no need for a complicated philosophy. Your philosophy is simple kindness. Your own mind, your own heart is the temple. I'd like to close with the Buddhist loving kindness blessing. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I realize the beauty of my own true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing for this world. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you realize the beauty of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for this world. May it be so. Thanks.
Thank you, Reverend Cathy. That was such a thoughtful talk. You gave us much to think about and to act upon. It was wonderful. Thank you. Let us now read together the mission statement of West Valley UU. We agree to provide a safe place to celebrate diversity, draw inspiration for living better lives, foster social and environmental justice, and compassionately support each other in our spiritual searches. Okay, we will now extinguish the chalice with a benediction from Reverend Cathy. Oh. Reverend Cathy, you're muted.
Ta-da. Although we are not meeting in person, we have not forsaken our connection to care for one another, nor our service to each other and the world. Our faith continues. Until we meet again, be strong, be well, be kind.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us this morning. Thank you again, Reverend Cathy, for your wonderful reflection, and Joe and Jeanette for music, and Paul and Barry for making this technology possible to provide these services. We will now have the postlude, and afterwards we'll share joys and sorrows, which will not be recorded due to respecting people's privacy. Please stay on Zoom afterwards for fellowship hour. And thank you again for being part of our service this morning.
There's a land that is fairer than day, and by faith we can see it afar, for the Father waits over the way to prepare us a dwelling place there. In the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. We shall sing on that beautiful shore the melodious songs of the blessed, and our spirits shall sorrow no more. Not a sigh for the blessing of rest. In the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by we shall meet on that beautiful shore. To our bountiful Father above, we will offer our tribute of praise for the glorious gift of his love, and the blessings that hallow our days. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore. In the sweet by and by, we shall meet on that beautiful shore.